The smell of bleach and hospital air hit her like a wall the second she stepped through the sliding doors. Claire Hayes clutched the thick folder of medical records to her chest like it was armor, though nothing could protect her from the numbers she'd already memorized: $175,000. That's what stood between her 5-year-old daughter Lily and the heart surgery she needed to live past her next birthday. Claire's fingers trembled as she signed in at the reception desk, forcing a polite smile, even though her heart was pounding hard enough to drown out the nurse's kind voice. "Please have a seat, Ms. Hayes," the receptionist said softly. Claire sank into a plastic chair, the harsh overhead lights making her exhaustion painfully visible. Weeks of sleepless nights had carved dark hollows under her eyes. She'd already emptied her savings, sold her car, and borrowed from every friend she dared to ask. And still she was $80,000 short when Dr. Alan, Lily's cardiologist, finally appeared. Claire followed him into a small office lined with degrees and neat stacks of files. "We can't wait any longer," he said gently. "Dr. Miranda Stone has agreed to perform the surgery next week. She's the best in the country." Claire nodded. She'd read every article about Dr. Stone during her desperate midnight research, but the words "next week" wrapped around her chest like a vice. I don't have it all yet. I thought—" She trailed off, unable to say the truth she'd hoped for another month to beg and borrow. "We'll connect you with our billing department," Dr. Allen said softly. "Let's see what they can do." The billing department was a cold room with cubicles and fluorescent light that hummed like a mosquito. A man in a crisp shirt, a name tag reading David Turner, didn't even look up when she walked in. "Ms. Hayes, your daughter's case requires at least 60% of the total cost up front," he said flatly. "That's policy." Claire's voice cracked. "But Dr. Allen said she can't wait." Turner finally looked up, his expression dry. "We have criteria for emergencies. This doesn't meet them. You may consider state hospitals if funding is an issue." She felt the floor tilt. Her hands gripped the armrest to stay upright. "State hospitals don't have Dr. Stone," she whispered. "Please, she's only 5. A sharp knock on the door interrupted her plea. A tall woman in a charcoal suit strode in her presence, commanding instant attention. Turner shot to his feet. "Ms. Collins," he said quickly. "I wasn't expecting." The woman cut him off with a cool glance. "Mr. Turner, step outside with me." Claire watched through the glass as the two exchanged heated words. The woman's posture was calm but firm, while Turner's shoulders hunched like a reprimanded child. When they re-entered, she took the chair beside Claire and extended her hand. "I'm Victoria Collins, CEO of this hospital," she said with surprising warmth. "Ms. Hayes, I've reviewed your daughter's case. I want you to know, you're not alone in this." Claire blinked, unable to process what she'd just heard. "We're moving forward with Lily's surgery next week," Victoria continued. "The financial details won't delay her care. Mr. Turner processed this under the Children's Cardiac Care Initiative." Turner stammered something about policy, but one sharp look from Victoria silenced him. Claire sat frozen, barely able to whisper, "Thank you." Later, in a sunlit executive office that felt more like a living room than part of a hospital, Victoria explained the program. "We're building a fund to ensure children like Lily get care regardless of their family's finances," she said. "We'd like to tell your story respectfully to secure funding for more families." Claire didn't hesitate. If it saves her life, yes, tell the world. The morning of the surgery arrived with pale dawn light creeping through Claire's blinds. Lily in her dinosaur socks and clutching her stuffed triceratops, Rex bounced nervously on her bed. "Mommy, will Dr. Stone make my heart super?" she asked seriously. "The super-est," Claire whispered, forcing a smile as she buttoned Lily's tiny gown. At check-in, Victoria was waiting, dressed down in slacks and a blue blouse, but her presence was just as commanding. She crouched to Lily's level with a smile. "I've heard you're very brave," she said gently. "Braver than Rex," Lily announced, holding up her toy. "I believe it," Victoria said warmly. "We've prepared a private waiting room for your mom. Dr. Stone will update her right after your super heart is ready." When it was time for Lily to be wheeled away, Claire knelt beside the gurney, smoothing her daughter's curls. I'll be right here the whole time, she whispered. I love you more than all the dinosaurs, Lily said solemnly. More than all the stars, Claire answered, her voice breaking. She stood frozen as the door swung shut until a gentle hand on her elbow guided her toward the waiting room. Hours crawled by. The plush couches and soft lighting of the private space couldn't soften the terror gnawing at her chest. Victoria checked in often, bringing real coffee and pastries from somewhere that wasn't the hospital cafeteria. At one point, Claire blurted out, "Why are you doing this for us?" "Really?" Victoria hesitated, then pulled a worn photograph from her pocket. In it, a little girl about Lily's age sat in a hospital bed smiling bravely, despite wires and monitors. "This was my daughter Charlotte," Victoria said quietly. "She had the same heart defect as Lily. 20 years ago, we couldn't afford her surgery. By the time we raised the money, it was too late." Claire's throat tightened. "I'm so sorry. I swore no other parent would feel that helpless," Victoria said, her voice trembling but resolute. "I worked my way up, built this program. When I saw Lily's file, I couldn't ignore it." Claire reached for her hand. "You're saving her." Victoria shook her head softly. "No, Dr. Stone is. I'm just making sure money never stands in the way again." 5 hours later, Dr. Stone appeared, her surgical cap still in place, her expression warm but exhausted. "The repair was successful," she announced. Claire sagged with relief, tears spilling freely. "She's okay. She's perfect," Dr. Stone said. "We'll monitor her closely tonight, but I expect a full recovery." Victoria caught Claire's arm to steady her as her knees threatened to give out. When Claire finally saw Lily in the ICU, hooked to wires and tubes, her small chest rising steadily, she wept openly. "You did it, baby," she whispered, tucking Rex under Lily's arm. "You're so brave." Over the next days, Lily's recovery was nothing short of miraculous. The tubes came out one by one, her smile returned, and her spark lit up every room she entered. Victoria visited daily, bringing books, stickers, even a blanket covered in constellations. On discharge day, Victoria handed Lily a custom-made stuffed heart with stitches matching her surgical repair. "This is your super heart," she said softly. She also gave Claire an envelope containing support services, counseling vouchers, and a stipend for her missed work. Claire tried to protest, but Victoria's voice was firm. "This isn't charity. It's Charlotte's legacy." As they walked toward the hospital entrance, a small group of staff clapped for Lily, presenting her with a Heart Hero certificate. The little girl, still clutching Rex, looked up at Victoria. "You're like the lady in the book," she said, referring to the story Victoria had gifted her Charlotte's super heart. Victoria knelt, smiling through glassy eyes. "Yes, sweetheart. And now you're just like Charlotte, brave and strong." Outside, Claire buckled Lily into her booster seat, glancing back at Victoria, framed in the hospital doorway. "We're not alone anymore," Lily whispered sleepily, hugging her new heart toy. "No, baby," Claire said softly, her own tears finally falling. "We're not." As they drove away, Victoria turned and walked back into the hospital, already reviewing another child's file, another little heart in need of saving. What do you think? Should access to life-saving health care ever depend on a bank account? Have you or someone you love ever been judged, dismissed, or priced out of care? Share your story in the comments. And if you believe no child should face this battle alone, hit like, subscribe, and help us spread these stories until change isn't a miracle, it's a standard.